Welcome back to Coach's Corner East on this first Wednesday of February, February 1st. Happy February to you. And we are at Colonel Crawford Intermediate School for the second session of Coach's Corner East on the girls basketball program this evening. The show is brought to you in part by Lee Plymouth and Brad Seibert at the Plymouth Insurance Group. Gallion and Bucyrus, North Central State College Mansfield, and the Crawford Success Center, North Walnut Street, across from the courthouse in Bucyrus. Phil and Sue Schreck at Phil's Deli, just east of the Pizza Hut at the Bridge in Gallion. And John Rolls at John's Auto Repair Specialist, 800 Scott Street in Crestline. Filling in for Zach Bauer tonight, it's JV basketball coach Jenna Maddy. It's good to see you again. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you for having us.
And gosh, it's probably been a while since I talked to you. At some point I interviewed you when you were playing, right?
Yeah, graduated in 21. So.
Yeah, 21, and now you're back, and you reminded me that you coached volleyball at Buckeye Central, right?
Yes, for a year.
And then you did junior high basketball last year.
Yes.
And was it because of, or I guess, was it because of Coach Fenner leaving that this opportunity came up for you?
For the most part, yes. Coach Bauer said if I still wanted the junior high that I had it. But then he could not find a JV coach because everyone was busy.
Yeah.
So he gave me that opportunity first to say yes to that.
Yeah. Have you been happy with it?
I have, yes.
Yeah, it's different because it's a different speed, it's a different pace, it's a different skill level, but yet it's given you some great experiences. It's something that you hope to continue, that you want to grow into maybe a varsity coach someday, or not sure about that yet?
Maybe, but that's a long way down the road.
Yeah, but you're learning a lot, I'm sure, about the game.
I am, yes. All the coaches, Bauer, Shell, and Fraser, have all been very helpful.
Yeah, so you look at the junior high season, and it mainly is December till right about now.
Yeah.
A little different at the high school level.
Yeah.
That's a grind because of the summer program. Then you get into preseason and the scrimmages, and then a 22-game season, and has it started to wear on you a little bit, or not so much?
Not so much. JV is not nearly as intense as varsity was, and I was varsity when all 4 years when I was in high school, so that was a grind. And we've had a couple JV team or varsity teams not have a JV team.
Yes.
So it hasn't been as hard as I thought it was going to be.
Okay. All right. Good. Looking at the varsity record specifically, 13-5 overall, 6-5 in the Northern 10 Conference, averaging about 39 points a game, and still surrendering just about 27.7, the top defense in the N10. It's something that Coach Bauer has really preached to all of the girls all year long about defense and taking that defense and creating it into offense. And it's worked pretty well. Are you employing that upon your players in the JV side too?
Yes, so today actually we did all basically defense. Your reward is being on defense. That's how you earn points today at practice.
Oh, nice.
So we had a very defensive practice, and sometimes we do that, and then other days we work on our offense. But we've had a nice week off where we can do certain things at a practice, and then the next day we'll focus on the next.
Yeah, very good. Taking a look at some past games a couple weeks ago, on a Saturday afternoon, which sometimes are tough games, right?
Yeah.
You go over to Bucyrus, and I felt kind of bad because the night before I had the Bucyrus girls on phone board, and they were all pumped up, and they knocked off the Varsity Eagles 43-39, and then you go right back the following Tuesday to Cary and lose by one, a team that you had beaten by 1 or 2 at home, and they get their revenge. But you get right back on track on Friday the 20th. You beat Seneca East at home 39-19. Then you beat Mount Gilead the following Monday on the road 46-31. And then the first time with Winford, and it's just like I talked to Coach Capel, you hadn't played them all year because of that snow right before Christmas, and they got you over here last Friday, 36-32. That had to be a tough one to lose.
It was a tough one to lose. Our girls are pretty devastated by that, but we're ready to go for the next time.
Yeah, which is coming up.
It's coming up pretty soon. I don't even remember what the makeup date is exactly, but it's coming up soon.
Yeah, and that'll be over, or that'll be.
It'll be at Winford.
At Winford, right? Because you already lost to them over here. And then, based on what I'm seeing, JV, you're sitting at 6-6 overall, 4-5 in the Northern 10. Is that pretty accurate?
I believe it's 7-7 now, and then we're 5-5 in the league.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
What have you liked about this group so far?
They're all pretty fresh. I have 5 of 7 that are freshmen, and then Carly Zender did not get to play last year because I don't think at all because she had a broken tailbone. correct me?
Yes.
Yeah, so she's pretty fresh, but she stepped up as a sophomore. And then Cameron played last year, and she's done wonders for me. She's a great rebounder, so they're all pretty fresh. I saw the freshmen, 8th graders last year when I was at 7th grade.
Yeah.
So I knew what they were about, but they've all done wonderful and improved so much over the season.
All right, very good. Well, we'll take a moment and talk to the young ladies around the table. We're brought to you in part by Steve Kurtzman and Associates at Innovative Recycling, 352 South Street in Gallion. Coach Tim Plumley of Mohican Sports Medicine in Bucyrus. John Cross at Cross Carpet and Custom Floors, 302 North Seltzer Street, downtown Crestline. Sophomore Cameron Powers is up first because you wanted to be first, right? That's why you decided to sit there.
I guess.
You guess so. Well, it's good to have you here. And situation where you had mentioned both yourself and Carly are dressing varsity, but you're getting mostly JV time.
Yeah.
Does that suit you well? I mean, are you happy with that?
I'm happy with it. I kind of see myself as stepping up next year as a junior, but I think looking back on my freshman year compared to this year, I have so much more playing time because I didn't dress last year. I was just a JV player and I didn't have much playing time. There was a couple games where I didn't play at all. So I'm extremely happy this year where I have an opportunity to get a lot of playing time.
That's great, and there is no replacement for game time. You can simulate stuff in practice, but until you're out there and things are real, you can't simulate that at all. Where do you feel, Cameron, that your game has gotten better from the beginning of the year to where you're at right now, almost near the end?
I think I've gotten better at being more confident in myself because I'm not usually that much confident in myself when I do things.
Yeah, so that's important. That's important, especially in the game of basketball. So maybe what have your coaches talked to you about, or in your own mind, what does Cameron have to do to get better to be a varsity player next year?
I would say having a better attitude. I've been told sometimes I don't have the best attitude towards people and myself.
Yeah, that's important too, and coaches can see that, other players can see that, they can feed off of that, and so that's vital. That's very, very important. Well, and I'll tell you what, I give you a ton of credit from a confidence standpoint that you had the confidence to say that right now. I mean, that's a huge step, and I give you a ton of credit because that's not easy for young people to admit that. So if that's a step in the right direction for confidence, you nailed that one, so I give you a ton of credit. Well, continue to enjoy the rest of the season, and hopefully better things coming next year. Carly Zender is a sophomore as well, and missed last year with an injury, right?
I played basically the first half of the year. In the beginning of January,
Okay.
I fractured my tailbone and wasn't
goodness.
able to play the rest of the year.
And that's tough. That's your first year in high school, and you got to kind of rebound and come back at it. Do you feel pretty comfortable now? Everything's healed, ready to go, and you feel in pretty good shape?
Yeah, I was happy because I was able to start doing stuff in the fall, and we had fall stuff going on with Bauer and stuff, and I feel like the break actually kind of helped me to just refresh and refocus on everything.
Mm-hmm. Very good. And what is your main role on the team? Are you a shooter, a defensive specialist? What are you being asked to do?
It just depends on the game. Sometimes I'm not making my shots and stuff, so I have to be there on defense. Other times, maybe if Carly's not having the best night with shooting, I got to be a shooter. So I just play whatever role I need to be in the game that day.
Okay, very good. I talked to Coach Capel about it with their tournament coming up. Your tournament starts a week earlier. And there's times where, you said you're both dressing varsity, there's times and situations that unlikely players get put in likely situations during a tournament run. That can be pretty scary. It can be daunting. It may be to foul somebody, to get the ball back. It could be, hey, you got to give somebody a blow. We need you. Is your mind prepared for that situation?
Yeah, I think, sure, I might be nervous or scared in the situation, but I think that I'd be prepared and ready to go in and do what I need to do.
Yeah, very good. Well, you got a big game on the road coming up Saturday at Mohawk, a game that you won pretty handily the first time you played them back in late December. They're going to have revenge on their minds. Are you ready to go for up there, which is going to be always a tough place to play?
Yeah, I feel like that as long as we go ready to play and focus, that we'd be able to play good as a team.
All right, very good. Thanks for coming. Great job. I appreciate it. Katie Taylor is here as a freshman, and welcome to the show. And I guess my question, it's going to be kind of for both, but I'm asking you first. You had Coach Maddy last year. were you excited that she got moved up to JV, that you got to continue on, and has it been any different voice, or is it the same voice you were used to, not in sound but in technique and the way that she coaches?
I would say that I was excited to have her because we had her last year and we were used to having her there in practices. And I can say that it's different because we're at different speeds, right, than what we were in middle school. So there's more voice to it.
Yeah, great answer. I appreciate that answer. And probably, and you can deny this if you wish, but I would think it probably took some of the nerves away. Let's face it, moving and transitioning from junior high basketball to high school basketball is a big step. When you can kind of have that same coach, it had to take some of the nerves off you too, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
So on the team, again, kind of like I had asked Carly over here, are you a shooter, defensive specialist, or what are you being asked to do?
I would say I'm probably one of our better defensive players. I've just recently gotten my groove into shooting, so I think I'm probably better at defense, and I'm getting there with shooting.
All right. Have you noticed an uptick in how more physical it is at the high school level than you ever saw at the junior high level?
Yeah, I would say it's a lot more physical because you're playing up against older people like sophomores, juniors, and maybe like a couple of seniors who haven't been on varsity.
Correct. Yeah, great point. Well, continued success to you, and I hope you got 3 more years left. I hope your game continues to improve, and I appreciate you coming out. Thanks so much. And Carly Scholl is a freshman as well, and Coach said the majority of your JV team is freshmen. Do you like that? I mean, or would you like to intermix with more of the upperclassmen?
I like it just because I've been playing with them way longer.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I've been playing with them since 4th grade, unlike those two.
Yeah. And that's got to be some help because growing up with them, you know their tendencies, you know what they do well, you know what they maybe don't do well, you kind of know how they're going to react in those situations. Now, I kind of get the sense that you're a shooter based on maybe what Cameron said. You're expected to score a lot?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel like, or are you comfortable with where your shot is right now?
Yeah.
More outside, or are you a driver? Or
I'm more of a 3-point shooter.
Okay. All right. So you do have some distance then, huh?
Yeah.
All right. How deep will Coach allow you to go past that 3-point line? Because I can tell, watching the Cavs, I mean, I saw Donovan Mitchell put some deep ones up here last night. It's not like cross half court and let it rip, right?
No.
Not quite. Okay. But you feel more comfortable up top or more in those corner spots?
More in the wing and corner than up top.
Maybe foul line extended, kind of that area there?
Yeah.
Okay. How's your defense? Is it something that needs to improve?
Yeah.
Okay. Sit down a little bit.
Yeah.
You ever hear Coach say sit down or get into them or something? Those words are spoken.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What's been the best part for you this year as your first year of high school?
I don't really know.
Getting to play more competition, better competition?
Yeah.
I think so. Okay. Very good. Well, wish you continued success. I appreciate you coming out. Take one final break here before we come back and talk to Coach Maddy about some upcoming games. Our show is brought to you in part by Terry Gribble and Associates at your Gallion Community Center, YMCA, Dr. Erica Schieber at Bucyrus Veterinary Service, 222 West Mary Street in Bucyrus, Rod Steiger and Associates at Pizza Hut of Gallion and Bucyrus, host of our show since 1992, and Luann Krebs at River's Edge Embroidery, Screen Printing and Signs, the official phone board T-shirt provider, Route 309, across from the Marion Depot. As I mentioned, this Saturday you go on the road to Mohawk, a team that's 14-5 overall, 7-5 in the Northern 10 Conference from a varsity standpoint. You beat them by 18 back on the 29th of December, but it's a team that poses some problems. They certainly pose some height underneath with Klopp, right?
Yeah.
And it's a team that's playing really well right now. What has been kind of the focus with Coach Bauer and the rest of the staff and the girls in practice this week?
We really focus on how we're going to defend them. With a tall player, what we're going to do if the ball goes down to her, what if their shooters start to shoot well. Really just look what we did last time, what worked, what didn't work, what needs to be improved. And like I said, today was a lot of defense and how we're going to defend Mohawk.
Yeah. And then do they have a JV team?
Yes, they do.
Okay, how did you do against them first time?
We lost by maybe 10.
Okay.
But we're ready to go back at them.
Yeah, a little revenge time.
Yeah.
Next Tuesday, it's always an interesting game for me, just on a lot of basis. You have Monroeville coming here.
Yes.
For those that don't know, Monroeville nickname are the Eagles. Their colors are black and gold. So it really looks like an inter-squad game because it says Eagles on their jersey. The colors are the same. My dad actually was a Monroeville graduate.
Oh, really?
I still have cousins that live in the Monroeville district, so there's some familiarity there. It'll be your last home game for the
Yes.
season. Have you already had your senior night, or
We
would that
have
be?
not. Our lone senior, Mallory Plezak, will have her senior night that game.
Yeah, so it'll be a short one, but a
It
very
will.
memorable one
Yes.
for sure. But that's a good tune-up. I don't know that they've had such a great year necessarily. Will they have a JV team, or you haven't heard?
Yes, I just heard today they do have a JV team. So.
Okay, all right, so you'll get another game in
Yeah.
front of your fans,
Yeah.
one more JV game.
One more.
And then you finish on the road the following week. Next week, you go Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. It's a busy week.
Yes.
3 games in the final week. You go to Winford on the 9th, next Thursday, a week from tomorrow. They don't have a JV team, so
No.
you won't get a game there, but a varsity game that you want to get a win.
Yes.
You want to get a little revenge, and how sweet to do it over at their place, right?
It would be, yes.
And then you finish at Upper Sandusky on Saturday, the 11th. You beat them at home. I remember it was a game that we had on our airwaves on a Friday night, 39-33 in overtime back on January 6th. And they're right up there at the top along with Buckeye Central. Buckeye Central is likely going to win the league. But it would be a nice way to propel yourself into the tournament.
Yes, it would be.
And then talking about the tournament, last Sunday you have your tournament draw. You end up getting the number 3 seed, and you chose to move to the sectional final rather than playing a semifinal game. So you will play Saturday the 18th at Monroeville High School
Yes.
at 6 o'clock against the winner of number 6 seed Western Reserve, number 7 seed Winford. Again, that game will be that game is Wednesday the 15th, but you play Saturday the 18th. You yourself, Coach Maddy, you have a preference of who you'd like to see, Western Reserve or Winford?
We've played both this
Right.
season. It would be kind of cool to play Winford a third time. If they beat us twice, it's hard to beat a team 3 times.
Agreed. I was just going to go there. You beat me to it.
Yep. If we've played Western Reserve, we won against them
Right.
early in the season, so we are hoping that could carry on to this game. Personally, I don't have a preference, but if you ask Coach Bauer, I'm sure he would have a preference of one or the other.
Yeah, for sure. Well, if you would win that game, you would go to the district semi. That would be Thursday the 23rd at Shelby at 7:30 versus the Margaretta Galleon winner versus the Ashland Crestview sectional winner, whoever comes
Yes,
out of
yep.
those 3 teams, and that's no easy task for sure. Margaretta's number 1 seed and very, very good program. But you got a lot of basketball. Well, I don't say a lot. 2 more weeks left. We'll worry about that tournament when we get to it. But thanks so much for coming out. Congratulations on moving up to your new role.
Thank you.
And best of luck to all of you the rest of the season, and just appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
You bet. I'm going to take a break here. We'll come back with Shelly Ashley and the boys swimming team at Colonel Crawford to finish up the show right after this timeout.